reckless, young boy, come up off that necklace. To the trends, see a lead be the band.
Finally, welcome to Bleachers and Speakers. I'm your host, June, and it is Foster's fault. Yeah, I'm gonna put it on you. I'm gonna point out. I'm pointing him out. It's Foster's fault. Before we get into this show, I want to remind everyone to subscribe to Bleachers and Speakers on YouTube and follow us on the podcast aggregators. Make sure that notification bell is on, so when we drop content, you'll get an alert and download those episodes. Good afternoon, Foster. How are you, sir?
I'm great.
I'm just glad to hear your voice, brother.
I bet.
Okay, we had some audio issues, but we're good to go now. We're streaming live from Facebook, YouTube, Twitter and Instagram. So check us out there. If you want to leave like a comment, it's better to go on YouTube. For some odd reason, StreamYard doesn't allow you to see the comments elsewhere, and I'm too busy to doing this to be checking my phone and stuff for other comments. So if you want to leave a comment, go to YouTube. Make sure you subscribe to YouTube. If you don't want to leave a comment, fine, watch where you're at. But that's the reason for all the outlets. We want everyone to see it. We would like some interaction, but if not, oh well. Some people just don't like to comment anyway. But Foster, we got a ball game tonight, and I'm kind of conflicted.
In what way?
Okay, so as you know, Minnesota won yesterday. So that means no matter what happens today, next Sunday night is a must-win game.
Mm-hmm.
If you don't win, you go from being the number 1 to the number 5.
Crazy.
It's crazy, right? Crazy how that works. So I'm kind of conflicted about this game. Like, do you go all out and make sure you win this game, or do you kind of like go through the motions and concentrate on next week? And I want to hear your perspective of that. What do you do tonight?
I mean,
you're Dan Campbell. What are you doing tonight?
If I'm Dan Campbell, well, I mean, Campbell has already made a statement on this, right?
I'm just saying that he made it from his perspective. I want to hear from Foster's perspective. What do you do? Coach Foster, never mind Campbell. Coach Foster is in the building. What are we doing?
I mean, we've been successful all year, keeping our foot on the gas, and I guess I feel like we got to be true to that. I don't think there's any real way to prevent. I guess completely sitting your starters is one way to prevent more injuries, but at the same time, I feel like we also need that time to get everybody acclimated and get additional chemistry as we move into a must win game, because the Vikings game is obviously very important. It's going to allow us to be able to rest. The real rest time is the bye week, and not the bye week. Yeah, the bye week.
Yeah, for sure.
The playoff bye, anyways. So that's when you give yourself an opportunity to sit back and get healthy. Until we get to that point, I don't think it makes sense to let up on the gas. I mean, we've been successful all year. We have only lost 2 games this entire year, and it's because we continue to apply pressure, and I think I don't think that resting starters today and trying to ramp back up next week is going to do us any justice.
One thing I can't say, like, the offense it's a rhythm type of offense. So you do sit your starters down offensively, and then you go into next week fully rested, you may not be in rhythm. And I think you need to be all hands on deck. You need to be ready to play and have an offensive output versus Minnesota. I mean, they're going to be looking for revenge. They're having a Cinderella season. They're looking for that number one seed, and they have to beat us in Detroit to do that. And I think that's a very tall task, I might ask, because I like that game at home. I like us. I like our odds in that game. Um, we haven't had a problem putting up points, and I don't want anything to tinker with the offense. Even with Montgomery down, that offense is still humming. So resting, I think if you build a big lead in the third quarter or something like that, by the third quarter, and you pull some starters, yeah, I get it. But other than that, you just play football today. You just play football. I'm still kind of conflicted, but at the same time, as it get closer to game time, starting to settle into the reality of you just got to play. Just got to play. This game, like, do you still have the same, I don't know, temperament as far as win or loss this game? Like, does it matter?
Yeah, I think that it doesn't. Winning the game can only help you build momentum towards the ultimate goal of beating the Vikings. Losing it, I think losing does take a little wind out of yourself. So I think you certainly want to continue the momentum that you have going right now.
Yeah. Yeah. And then on top of that, you kind of like chasing history. Like the Lions haven't had a record better than 13. And I mean, I think 13 is the most wins, right? That
Yes.
the Lions have. So, to set the bar a little higher, you win this game 14. Um, and then you win 15. Go 15-2.
Crazy to think about.
Crazy to think about that. Now, I would
That's a
have
lot of
never
wins.
guessed. Yeah, I would have never guessed that it would be even, like I said, we said before, 12-5, 11-6 was the way me and you thought this season would go. And we're we're exceeding the expectations. Yeah, 14 is good. I mean, I think that's where you guys are going to be at 14. Yeah. And I'm regarding to my boy Dave. He said 14 is good. Yeah, I hope you think so after after next week.
Right.
I hope you keep that same energy when you're at 14 there, buddy. But yeah, I don't know. I think their 49ers are missing quite a few players as well. I think they're they have quite a few injuries. Foster, have you been paying attention to their roster and who's playing tonight and who's not playing?
Yeah. So, I mean, they have a large number of players that are on injured reserve right now, but in general, there's a ton of players that are even just on the injury list that might play. Um, yeah, I mean, we kind of discussed it in length last week as far as having a lot of injuries on both sides of things
Mm-hmm.
and how it's affected each team, and obviously they've suffered just a few more, and certainly some more impactful ones like Brandon Ayuk and McCaffrey and Trent Williams, and the
Yeah.
list goes on. So they got they somewhat have us trumped in that regards, but that's not to say that this they're cashing in and it's going to be an easy win, because they still do have some very good players that are going to play tonight, aka Debo Samuel, Brock Purdy, Bosa, they
Kittle.
Kittle, yeah, George Kittle, yeah, they still got a a very talented team despite that. So can't take it, can't cash in that check just yet, even though yeah, they're planning their Cancun trip right now.
That's a comment from Dave for our listeners. Dave says the 49ers are planning their Cancun trip and tea times. Man. Yeah, usually that's the time of season. It's that time for a lot of teams. Around this time of the season, except for the people that are are in the playoffs, have already clinched and everything. So, before we get into anything further, let's take a quick break, Foster. If the people are listening, you'll hear some ads, and if you're watching, give us about 10 seconds. We'll be right back. And it just doesn't feel like, I don't know, it doesn't have that Monday night atmosphere for me. Like, the buzz is kinda not there. Because to me, I'm looking at it as, you know, this game really does nothing, win or lose. I mean, you could still wind up with the best record in the NFL if you lose this weekend and win the following weekend. Tied for the best record with uh, Philly, depending upon what they do. So it's like, and then usually we're waiting to see what our team does, and we're just, it's like we're at the end of the road, and we've been saying this all season. Like, it's a lot of football left. It's a lot. It's not much football left.
Nope.
The season, the season is within this last 2 weeks, and my expectations have been exceeded. Like, no matter what happens these next 2 weeks, my expectations are exceeded. I do think once the playoffs start, it's a whole new season. Ball game is over. The new season kicks in, and teams are going to be playing a lot tougher. Teams are going to be, they're playing for the prize at that point. You know what I'm saying? There's an NFC championship at stake, and I think every team that's in there is going to be playing like they want to go to the Super Bowl. Now, let me ask you this, Foster. I don't pay attention to that other dookie green colored team, but with the loss last night, they're still in the playoffs, right?
Probably so. It'd be our luck.
I mean, but the thing is, with all the playoff teams, there's nobody that you just really want to play. Like,
Nah.
all of them dangerous. I mean, you look at it. I mean, I don't know if it's Seattle or the Rams, but both of them are tricky teams to play in the playoffs. Green Bay is a tricky team to play in the playoffs. Minnesota, Philly, all of these teams are teams that are well capable of winning against anybody. So it's like there's no easy path in the playoffs. The easiest path is having that first week bye.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So it is what it is. Like, I really don't like when people say, who do you prefer to play? It's the playoffs. My preference is to have a first round bye and be at home, whoever we play. But, like I said, the road to the Super Bowl, you have to win. You may have to win a game on the road. You just may have to. And that's just what it is. Are we welcoming anybody back to the lineup today?
We could be welcoming back Jalen Reeves-Maybin. He's questionable tonight. He's obviously been on IR for a good amount of the year. Khalif Raymond and David Montgomery are still ruled out. But I know Raymond's window has opened back up, along with Maybin, and Anzalone, I think's window to return is back open, but he's not ready. So
He probably won't play into the Anzalone. They probably will not play him into the playoffs.
Yeah, I don't think that they're gonna try to suit him up for that last game. So
No. We're gonna just go with what we got and roll the dice. Dave has let us know that the Packers clinched in week 16. So very good season for the NFC North. 3 teams, double-digit wins, all in the playoffs. 2 teams fighting for home field advantage. The only undecided, Dave says, the only undecided participants in the NFC are between the Bucks and the Falcons. And I think they play head-to-head next weekend. And I think the winner goes there. I think the winner plays, but yeah, I it's just I don't know. It's this season has been from a regular season standpoint, it's been magical. It's been magical. Um, if you look at the two losses were uh one score apiece, a touchdown in deciding that game.
Yep.
Two losses. I think the score was what 42-48. That's 6 points, and then two losses, 10 points, right between two losses. So that tells you how competitive they've been every single game.
Absolutely.
And this is something that, as a Lions fan, if you're watching, if you've been a Lions fan, you know we're not used to that. So it's been a magical season for as far as the regular season, but like I said, that stuff goes out the window when the playoff starts. When the playoff starts, it's a totally different ball game. I haven't even paid. You know what? The Lions have been so intriguing with me and me paying attention. I haven't paid attention to nobody else. I don't know. All I know on the AFC side is Kansas City, Buffalo, and Baltimore as far as being good. I haven't paid attention.
Yeah. Yeah, the Texans are still in it. The team that's been the most quiet is the Chargers. They're quietly 10-6. I don't.
Are they in the playoffs?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, did Denver mess their way out of the playoffs?
So they're still in the hunt. I think they have an 83% chance of making it.
So they have to win next week.
Yes, because the Bengals need help. I think they need a couple teams to lose in order to get in.
Yeah. So, like I said, I haven't been paying attention. I've been so wrapped up in paying attention to our roster moves, because one thing about it, besides in between the games, there's all of these roster moves. We've had so many roster moves because of the injuries. We're bringing somebody in or shipping someone out. There's been roster moves every single week, Foster. Just this week, there was no injuries, but there were roster moves. David Long was let go. Quan Alexander was let go.
Did I see something that's saying that he came back, or am I tripping?
Maybe so. I don't know, but it's like it's always these roster moves that are happening.
Yeah, they brought Quan Alexander back and signed a corner. I don't know who it is, but yeah, Long, I think, failed a physical. I think that's how he got cut.
Yeah, there was a corner that was on the practice squad that Detroit pulled up.
Who is that?
I forgot his name, but I know
Norris?
they pulled him up from the practice squad.
Okay.
Hey man, where is Emmanuel Mosley, bro?
Must not be ready.
Okay. When did he get this pec injury?
Training like midway through training camp.
Okay. And usually a pec injury is what, 8 weeks?
Well, I can't say they're all made equally, but we know that CD Deuce had one in week 2 and was back by the end of the year. So
okay.
I mean, we're talking about a guy that's torn the same ACL or torn, two different ACLs twice. So got a lot going on.
Dave says, I call that roster churn. It's a way to maximize player availability and player development. Yeah, I guess. I guess. I mean, it's hard to look at it that way when you have so many injuries and they're just bringing people in and shipping them out. David Long, I was wondering. I thought he played pretty decent. Not, all-star. I mean, better than Mr. Turner.
Yeah. It's probably compare the two. Yeah.
I thought Turner was going to be out of town. Like I didn't think he'd make it. No shade to him. God bless him and his family. But I just thought the way he'd been playing in comparison was he just didn't look comfortable out there, and he wasn't making plays. He was always out of position. And maybe maybe it's a good reason why I don't coach. Maybe they know more than what I'm seeing. So
Yeah, they certainly see more than we get to see, but I don't know. For some reason, I saw somewhere that he might have fit that. Well, I thought he already had a physical, but I don't know. I feel like I heard something about David Long. No, I couldn't have had nothing to do with the physical. You take one and you're done, right? I don't know.
I mean, usually, yeah. I mean, unless you get hurt.
Signed by the hour. He played 70 snaps, 58 special team snaps.
Have you heard anything about Mr. Adams?
Adams? Oh, Jamal.
Yes.
No, he's still with us, right?
Yeah, he's been relatively quiet though. He played
Yeah, since Iffy came back, he's kind of. I think his role has kind of been subsided. He was mostly just blitzing, right? Just blitzing off
pretty much.
out of that kind of a
Yeah.
linebacker ish. He's
Watch what I tell you, Foster. If he was a little rusty last week, he's about to turn up.
I thought he looked all right.
He missed a couple of sacks.
Yeah, for sure.
That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
And he missed a couple of sacks, and he had Caleb in his sights. He could have really made some impact. But I think that's just a little rust, a little pursuit, got a little happy, wrong angle, and boom. And once you when you rush a passer and you don't have the balance you're supposed to have, you can get away, and probably it's had a lot to do with Caleb as well. But I think if he's been playing prior to that, he gets those sacks. That this is his first game back, and I already know what to expect from if he makes plays. And the very first play he was back, he damn near had a sack. And this is your safety. This is your safety. And you have a safety that can drop back in coverage as well, along with blitz. I mean, he if he makes plays, and I think that's what we've been missing outside of the opposite corner consistency. But we'll see how this goes, man. We gotta face Debo tonight. I think if we get pressure on the quarterback, which we can, because they're missing a tackle. Trent Williams is out. I think we can get pressure on. I mean, Purdy has faced pressure all season. I think if we get pressure, I think it'll be a pretty good, pretty clean game from the defense. I'm not worried about the offense at all. I think the offense will move the ball. I don't want this to be a close game by any stretch. I want it not to be in doubt at all. So let's take another quick break, Foster. And we started late. We're not gonna hold the people though. So we'll take another quick break. If you're watching, we'll give us about 10 seconds. And if you're listening, you'll hear some more wonderful ads. Yes, I want to remind everyone while you're watching, stop what you're doing. Subscribe to Bleachers Speakers on YouTube. We've been on this campaign to get 200 subscribers, which we did get. Now we're pushing for 3. So please, if you're not watching through YouTube right now, subscribe to Bleachers to Speakers on YouTube. There's a lot of good content on there when it comes to Lions. There's Detroit Piston content on there. There's Detroit Tigers content on there. And baseball is about to start in less than 50 days, boss?
Less than 50, yeah.
So yeah. So it's a lot of stuff on there. Me and Foster do these featured player profiles. So if you want to learn about a player, and we do like mostly the no names that are on the Detroit Lions, the lesser, and then the rookies, and then in the off season we do the draft picks, potential draft picks for the upcoming draft. So we do player profiles there. I'm going to start doing old school feature profile players. I'm an old school guy, so you will see guys like on there featured Barry Sanders. You might see Isaiah Thomas for the Pistons. I'm gonna do stuff like that. People who I watched as a kid, so I can put my own input and spin on it, along with the facts and statistics like Foster. I'll try to do as good a job as Foster, but there's no guarantees there. You know what I'm saying? He's the GOAT at it. So, I'm just trying something. So, but anyway, Foster, how do you see this game going?
This one's a tough one to call. I think this is a dangerous game. It will be really easy to look past and take into account the fact that the Packers weren't able to beat the Vikings and push all our chips in on the Vikings game. So this is somewhat of a trap game. The 49ers are a team that came into the year very talented, and injuries kind of derailed the plans they had. And this game was supposed to be a game that we circled that both teams were circling on their calendar, being that we were in the middle, we were in between each other's way in getting to the Super Bowl. So the 40, we're going in totally different directions right now. The Lions are playing for home field advantage, and the 49ers are trying to spoil. Despite all those injuries, the 49ers rank out very good yardage wise on the offense and defensive side of the ball. They are in the middle of the pack as far as the scoring, the actual, not the yardage, but the actual putting the football in the end zone is what has on both ends of the ball is what's hurt the 49ers this year. They have been punished in the red zone. They rank 25th offensively and 30th defensively. So this is a team that has struggled to get the ball in the end zone, not to mention the fact that their kicker, Jake Moody, out of U of M, is having an off year. So
you just the whole team's having an off year.
Whole team's having an off year. Obviously, McCaffrey, they've ran, like they said, they've ran through about 4 or 5 running backs thus far. So that has been that's been an ever changing thing. But yeah, they've struggled to make things happen in the red zone, and that's what's hurt them the most this year, because they rank 2nd overall in defense. They still have a very strong defense, and they rank 8th overall in offense as far as yardage is concerned. So look for the Lions to take advantage of their weaknesses in the red zone, and I think that is going to be the key for them, just being able to hopefully run the ball. But like I said, this team is not a pushover, even with all the injuries. So I think this game ends up. I think we win by 10 points, but I think it's going to be a close game throughout. I think we kind of pull away at the end, but close game for the most part.
Well, I tell you what, after the game, we'll be right here to see if what Foster says stands true. I think we win this game. I'm not going to be mad if we lose, because it really doesn't mean anything but momentum. But hey, it is what it is. Foster, before we go, I mean, I know I guess we back to back with it, because you just spoke your piece, but I'm going to ask you to put a bow on this before we get out of here.
Oh, that was the bow.
That was the bow. Okay.
Red zone efficiency and continuing drives on 3rd down.
Okay. I'm sorry. I should have. See, you just messed up my whole transition. I should have transitioned that before that. Now, I got an empty transition, kind of like the Pistons versus Denver. Okay. All right. We'll be back right here after the game. But if you're interested in Detroit Piston basketball or any kind of basketball within the Central Division, if you're familiar with the Central Division in the NBA, we are having a show with our other Central Division affiliates from the NBA. We'll be right back here at 7 o'clock you'll see a whole different, background and stuff. We're going to switch from football to basketball, and we're going to talk basketball, and we'll have some guests on there. So make sure you tune into that. We'll be streaming from these same places. So please, if you haven't subscribed to YouTube already, subscribe to Bleachers Speakers on YouTube. And that is the way I put a bow on it, Foster. Just like that.
Get your lick back. If a nugget gon' do something, ain't no chit chat. Better stay up out the way, don't get your shit splat. Stop letting this shit slide and get your lick back. And get your lick back.